Welcome back, everybody, to the Optimize You podcast, the show with Matt and Alex, where we help elevate, bring you value on all topics that are going to help optimize you from health and fitness, wellness, mindset, and everything in between. Today, we have a really special guest I'm excited to chat about, and we are going to go over and dive into him, what he's all about. He is the owner and operator of HoyeFit. And for the last 5 years, he's delivered not only realistic, but sustainable, and most of all, this is the most important part, enjoyable, right? Health and weight loss solutions to ladies, specifically 40 and over, that are wanting to feel great, getting back into their favorite clothes, and after years of unsuccessful crash yo-yo dieting attempts. That's no fun. He has also created his own personal health and fitness journey, and he went all the way from struggling, from being too skinny, then too fat, to now confident, happy, and healthy in his own skin. And I love this saying that he has and prides himself in his company, and that is the fact that they aren't the quick fix, but they are the fix. Joe, what's going on, man?
Damn, that was solid. I love that. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
doing good. How are you?
Great, man. Alex and I were talking before we hopped on the show, and the topics that you love to talk about with your business are the same things that are right up our alley. So I know people will get all kinds of value from this, man. And we're really excited to learn more about you. I know people are going to get value from you. You're a rock star in your own realm. And so we kind of want to start off with telling us a little bit about you and catch us up to speed on, obviously you have your business now, but what were you doing before that, and kind of bridge the gap for us and tell us how you got there.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm 29. I live in Southern Vermont. Not a whole lot going on here. But that's where I'm born and raised. And growing up, kind of like you said, I was always the really, really skinny kid. And so 2 older stepbrothers, all my friends had older stepbrothers. And like, obviously you're getting picked on, like, hey, you got to be bigger. You're the smallest one. You're the slowest one. You're this or that. And like, obviously as like a little young man, that gets in your head. And you're like, I want to be bigger. I want to be stronger. I want to be faster. And no matter what I did, from 13 up until when I graduated high school, I was in the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week, eating everything in sight. I couldn't gain weight. Then all of a sudden, I started taking nutrition courses in college for the career path I was going down. I was like, oh, fats have double the amount of calories as carbs and protein. If I ate those, I bet I could get in more calories. And so I went from too skinny. I graduated high school. I'm like 5'11" at probably 140, 145 pounds. And by the end of freshman year, I had ballooned up to about 225. And so I definitely gained the weight I was looking for, but then I also gained another 30 to 40 pounds on top of that. And I had a new problem I had to face. So from too skinny to too fat, not really liking myself still. And eventually those nutrition courses paid off. The career path I had chose paid off. I dropped down to where I am now, which is roughly 190, 195 pounds. And I know what to eat to fuel my body, to like please my taste buds, keep the body that I want, and just feel happy, confident, energetic all day long. And so that's kind of my route. And what I did go to school for, I was actually helping the doctorate surgery for 5 years. And something inside me always had a little bit of like an entrepreneurial spirit. And when people saw that Joe, the small town kid that went from too skinny to too fat to like now he has abs and muscles, all the people that knew me were like, hey, I've been trying to do that too. How'd you do it? Something clicked. And so like pretty much from the get-go of working in surgery, I had started training people on the side. And eventually it took off. And I mean, God, over 5 years later, now here we are. It's what I've been doing for 3 years outside of surgery. We have a small team of 4 that helps ladies over 40 lose weight, fit back into their clothes, and just feel good about themselves. And I love every second of it.
I love it, dude. No, that's awesome. I relate so heavily with that story because I was the same way throughout high school where I could not gain weight to fucking just for my life. I was trying to get over 200 pounds and I just could not get it. I'm a big guy. And then in college, so I was playing baseball up in northern Minnesota, and my freshman year, I got the idea, like, they're like, you got to gain weight, you got to put on weight. And so I thought I had to bulk, and I went all the way from like 195 to 245. And looking at those pictures now, I'm like, oh shit, like that summer I ended up getting into health and fitness and nutrition a little bit more just from the guys I was playing with in the summer league. And that kind of changed. That was kind of one of the first steps that I took as well to start changing my body. But I love that whole story, and that you've kind of done it all. You've figured out how to put the weight on, and how I know like one of the things that you like talking about is reverse dieting, and then also how to actually lose the weight in a sustainable way. And so I'd love for you to talk about just kind of the things you did once you got up to that high weight to end up losing that weight in a sustainable way and really set yourself up for the long-term success that you have now.
Yeah, for sure. So the way that I lost weight probably isn't the way that I would tell other people to do it, because I was still really early in my coaching career, in my nutrition education. And so not that I did anything bad, but I just found it wasn't sustainable. So like I was just eating 100% the cleanest foods you could ever think of all the time. And I mean, it worked fast. I kept my muscle, I got shredded, but like I couldn't eat that way now that I know, hey, I can have a donut, or I can go out and have a dinner date with Kayla and dessert after and like still maintain my body. There's no way I'd want to eat as clean as I did, so somewhere in the happy medium was where I'd like to see people stay.
Very cool. Joe, you're big on having phases in your program. I know you're super educated. What are some of the commonalities that you see that people, when they first come into your group, or say even they're a lead, they're maybe not even a potential client yet, what are some of the common things that you see people struggle with initially, like right before they come into your program, or kind of preceding that initial phase there?
I mean, the big one's going to be like fear of carbs and fear of calories, right? I'm sure you guys see probably the same to some extent, but like I was just on a call with a new client earlier this week, and she's like, hey, quick questions. Like, what's up? She's like, can I have like potatoes and sweet potatoes? And I was like, yeah, please do. And that's all while we're bumping our calories up to 2,000 a day. And so most ladies that we work with, they come in, they've done Optavia, keto, Atkins, you name it, all the names that come to mind when we hear the word diet. And because of that, they think that 1,200 calorie diets are normal and that carbs are evil. And so we have to work to fix everything that those diets have damaged.
Totally.
No, that's awesome. And what do you do then with that person, right? They come in, they've done Optavia, they've done, Atkins, they've done keto, they've done all of these different types of fad diets out there. They're eating 1,200 calories or even below. I know for me, I've worked with a lot of women as well. And, I had some people eating like 500, 600, 700 calories at times too, which kind of baffled me before I started to see it on a more regular basis. What are some of the things that you do right off the bat with these ladies to help them get up to those 2,000 calories and really set them up for success with fat loss?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, God, like you said, it's alarming when you see that 400 calorie person come in. You're like, I had that in half of my breakfast. Like, are you okay? But yeah, so we'll always do a reverse diet. And so really the place for us to start, I'd love to hear how you guys do this too, is like the first week in our program, no matter who you are, where you're coming from, we need a good understanding of those two things. So who you are and where you're coming from. So we just observe you for the first week. Like we'll set you up on our app. We get to look at your nutrition, what you're eating, when you're eating it, how much you're eating, how often you're eating. We get to see sleep, movement, calorie burn, all that. From those first 7 days, we get a good understanding of not just what that week looked like, but probably what their past several months or years have looked like. And that gives us a good baseline of like, all right, now I know what we're working with. Here's how we're going to go from here. And so if they're eating, like you said, Alex, like 1,200 calories, 1,000 calories, we'll bump that up by 20%. So 200 to 300 calories to start. We'll find their maintenance. And after that 200 to 300 calorie increase for the next week, we'll bump up by another 100, 150, 200 every 7 days or 14 days, depending on how long they've been dieting. Bring them up to maintenance and show them, number one, how good they can feel, because most ladies forget. And then number two, how much food they can actually enjoy.
Yeah, those are awesome points, because those are some of the commonalities I think all three of us face when we have somebody brand new coming in. Joe, what's your advice to somebody? Let's say the individual, they come in they spend, let's say, a week or two and you kind of figuring out where exactly they were at in their history. So you can kind of see their habits, where they're specifically at so that you know where to take them from. But let's say that individual is resistant in terms of, or scared of eating more food. How do you coach that person through, or like, what's your advice to them?
So I try to put it in perspective for them. Right. And so my two favorite ways to do that is like, hey, in my community, like my free community, everybody knows I have this sweet little border collie. She's like really well behaved. So I'm always flexing her, showing her off. Like, hey, you guys know Ella? She's 42 pounds. Like, yeah, we know Ella. We love her. She's cute. Like, right. Ella eats 1,200 calories. She weighs 42 pounds. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. You guys saw that picture I posted the other week of me holding Clayton, my little nephew. They're like, yeah, cute little guy. He's 32 inches tall. He eats 1,300 calories a day. And like you see it start to click with them. They're like, okay, what are you getting at? I was like, I don't think you're 42 pounds and I don't think you're 32 inches tall. And so if you don't check those boxes, you also don't check the box of getting to eat 1,200 calories. Like you need more than that to survive. I mean, to thrive rather than survive.
No, for sure. No, that's so true. That's a good, because I've always struggled with that as well in the past where, you get people, they've been eating this way for 5, 10, 20 years maybe. And it takes a long time and a lot of almost repetition with them to get it through that, hey, like you're really doing yourself a disservice here and you're setting yourself up for failure and you're making events and vacations a lot harder than they need to be by eating these low calories. And, what I always found as well is that once we started kind of building those calories up and they started seeing the energy increases and maybe their sleep getting better and the fact that they were able to get better workouts in or more movement, it was like, that was kind of for me, like the click moment where it's like, oh shit, like that evidence was in front of them that it was starting to work. And then you had somebody who was bought in. And so is there anything else that you use to help them buy in to just the process that you have going for them?
I was literally just going to say what you said too. Like a lot of times, no matter what we say, there's not going to be buy-in because they've done 10 different diets in the past and every single one said eat 1,200 calories. And then there's me, a 29-year-old guy telling a 40-year-old lady to eat more food. And she's like, who the hell are you? Right. So a lot of times, honestly, I'll just level with them. Like, hey, I get it. Nothing I say right now is going to make you feel better. But in a week, if you trust me, that will feel better. And then, like you just said, Alex, like then they have the buy-in. But I mean, aside from that, we're always sharing client testimonials. We're always like, hey, we just increased client C's calories by 500. She just lost 10 pounds in the first 2 months. Like, what do you guys think of that? And so when they see that over and over again, it's kind of like fighting that war against Optavia.
Which is almost like this never ending battle until they absolutely get that buy-in, right? And then they're like, oh, okay, like I don't have to eat like a bird. I can have some fuel here and it's actually going to benefit me. And you probably even see this too. We see it. It's very common with my clients that I take through a reverse when we're starting initially, especially if their metabolism is super suppressed and they're coming from this like really messed up stage. They start increasing their calories. They start giving themselves more fuel. And the thing that they wanted initially, which most times they want to see that scale move, is they're eating more and then the scale moves in the right direction, right? And they're taken back. And then, and I'm sure you're the same way, is like now we get that ultimate buy-in, right? That's one scenario that happens with my clients a lot where it's like, oh, okay, I not only actually hear what he's saying now, I see what's happening now. And then that makes the coaching process really easy. And I don't have many rules as far as, what I preach to my clients when they first start. But one of them, the first one right at the top, is to be coachable. And part of that is like buying into the process, right? And I tell them, if you can trust in me and you can trust in the process, and most importantly, believe and trust in yourself, this is going to be super fun for you. But the more you try to fight it with friction or, try to hit the eject button and go back to your Optavia or go back to your quick fix, which I know you're not a huge fan of either, those people are going to try to go find the quick fix and be in this never ending vicious cycle. Do you see a lot of people or experience that a lot where somebody's like, oh no, this is a little too difficult, or I don't see results right away, so I want to try to go back to the thing that's quick?
Yeah, so we used to a ton. And I almost want to put the blame on myself because I don't think I was doing a good enough job of like setting expectations for them. Right. And so that's why when you're like, Joe, give me some information, I was like, hey, we're not the quick fix, we're the fix. And so like, that's something that I shout as much as I possibly can. So that way, when ladies even apply for a coaching program, because we don't accept everybody, when ladies apply for a coaching program, that's the first thing they see. They're like, hey, we're not the quick fix, we're the fix. Do you understand? And like, they get a yes or no. And if they say no, like, you bet when I talk with them, I'm explaining that. And so now we don't really see it. Like, they understand this is going to be a 6 to 12 month process, but at the end, it's truly going to be the last process they ever go through.
That's good shit. And that's huge, those expectations from the get-go. I struggle with that a lot as well early on, where it was like I was almost scared to tell them that they might gain weight, and that, and that there was going to be a lot of time, especially because, hey, you've spent 10 years just going lower and lower with your calories. Like, this is going to be a process where the longer you spend, the more time we're going to have to spend to get your metabolism in a better spot to really set you up for success. And I always kind of talked about with my clients about, hey, we need to create like room here. You're eating 1,000 calories. Like, you have no room to go lower. Like, isn't it hell? Like, whenever you even eat what you're eating right now, like, think about trying to go to 700 or 600 calories. Like, you're just setting yourself up for a lot of just struggle there. And I would love to hear, I know, you work, I think exclusively with women, right? Like, what ended up getting you into that just group of people as opposed to working with men?
Yeah, for sure. So two things. Number one, when I was 13, that's when I mentioned that quick little bio. Like, that's when I jumped in the gym. The only reason I went to the gym is because one night I was just hanging out with my mom. I was like, Mom, it's 6 o'clock at night. I'm bored. There's nothing to do. And she's like, well, tough luck, dude. I'm going to the gym. You can come with me if you want, or you can stay home. And so I was like, yeah, all right, I'll try it. And from that day, it just clicked. I was like, wow, I love this. And so if she didn't bring me to the gym when I was 13, none of this would have happened. Like, I truly don't think I ever would have turned into a coach. Then the other thing is, when I first started HoyeFit, I didn't really know how to run a business, right? Like, we don't know things when we start. And so I was like, yeah, group coaching, 6-week challenges, that's what I'm going to do. And so I just plastered it all over our town. And for some reason, the people that resonated best with me were these ladies. So like ladies 40, 50, 60 years old. And it just stuck. And you know what? I kind of like it, because at this point, I was just on a podcast, I think earlier this week, and I was sharing the story. But at this point, like, I'm working with 2 ladies right now. One of them is like, hey, my son saw you on Instagram from like over my shoulder. And he saw that you're muscular. He kind of wants to look like you. Can you train him? And so like, now I get to pay it forward to the moms, and that trickles into their son's life. And maybe I get to create that same effect that I got. And so that's why it's so worth it to me.
That's awesome, man. That's super cool. It's a approach that I wasn't expecting you to say, but to hear that story, it's cool. It's like, it almost inspired your route. And then you have been engaged in your route for quite some time now. And now you're like, okay, how can I pay it back to the things that got me started? Which, by the way, is super cool. Like, that's awesome. I didn't think you were going to say that answer that you said. I thought it was going to be something totally different, but that's cool. Cause now it's not only is it right up your alley and you're super engaged, and it is transitioned and kind of opened a door for an opportunity that you didn't even probably potentially think was there. And now, you're seeing even more opportunities to give back to people who are in your same shoes, not only from the mom's perspective, but the son as well. So it kind of goes full circle, which is super cool. Joe, what's your advice to people who are just coming into your program? They understand your process. They're like, okay, we're completely bought in. They start to engage in it, and maybe they think it's a little bit more uphill battle than expected, which we know that's where the mindset comes into play. What are some things that you help those individuals with from a mental perspective to help them work over those speed bumps and those hurdles?
I love this. Perfect question. So I was actually going to mention it earlier when Alex was talking, but like, because you mentioned, Alex, that sometimes when we do a reverse diet, these ladies will see a couple pounds of scale gain, right? And it's nothing we can do about it. Some ladies respond great, they lose weight. Some ladies, as we increase food, they increase carbs and they increase salt, and both those things are going to be water retending. That's going to lead to scale gain. And so what I like to tell them, or the mindset I like them to adopt, is I kind of tell them that they're Chinese bamboo. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Matt's smiling, so probably. But if you plant Chinese bamboo today, underground. It's a little seed. You put it in the ground. You have to water it for the next 5 years. For 5 years, it's not going to do a damn thing. So you're going to start questioning yourself. You're going to say, did I even plant it? Am I going crazy? Was it too hot one day and the sun killed it? Am I even watering in the right spot? Because I forget where it's been. It's 5 years ago. And you have no idea, but you have to trust that you're doing the right thing for 5 years. And then on that 5th year, like this, the Chinese bamboo grows 90 feet tall in its first 90 days. And so all we're doing with these ladies is building this massive foundation so that when they're ready, we can build the strongest, tallest, most beautiful skyscraper in the world that's going to stand for life. And this metabolic restoration phase, this reverse diet, is really just building a foundation that they can use for the rest of their life.
I love it, dude. That's a good story. That's insane that it grows that quickly in such a short period of time. But it is such a good just description of fat loss in general, especially for somebody who has been just dieting in year in, year out for, a decade or potentially longer. What is some of the things then that you guys do in your metabolic restoration phase to help build such a great foundation and set them up for success?
So I think, like I said, setting those expectations is huge. Reminding them that this is going to be the last time they do it. And so if they're looking back 2 years from now and they're at their goal in 2 years, do they really care if it took them 12 months or 15 months? Or are they just happy that they got there? And so really putting patience into them and leveling with them, saying, hey, I get it. It is tough, but we've done this 100 times. And I know this is your first time, but we've seen it work every other time and you're not going to be any different. So you just need to see it through. And also telling them they don't have to be perfect, right? This is a fun phase of reverse dieting. They have a lot of food freedoms. They get to rest and de-stress their body. And so it can be a fun phase if they take that mindset and look at it that way.
Totally. Joe, I know you're into CrossFit. Do you get a lot of CrossFit clients or potential leads that come to you that are, that's kind of their background?
Yeah, I actually don't. A lot of the ladies I work with, they're usually generally pretty sedentary or just walking, really. Of the freaks that I get that are super athletes, they're still ladies over 40 plus. They just love exercising like crazy. And so sometimes we actually find that's detrimental, right? CrossFit 5, 6, 7 days a week is just stressing your body to the max. And so I'm not going to tell them to quit something they don't like, because I think the best type of exercise is the kind that they enjoy so that they stick with it. But I'm just saying, hey, let's dial it back. Let's go to 4 days and then walk the rest or strength train the rest.
I love it, dude. And kind of going back to mindset, I know we talked about just some of the common struggles with people coming into your initial phase, just eating low calories, constantly dieting 24/7, 365, trying all of these fad diets. What are some of the other common mindset struggles that you see from these ladies right off the bat that you kind of address in your first phase?
So, probably similar to you guys after hearing a little bit more, but fear of failure is massive, right? They just did 10 diets and they're 5 pounds heavier than when they started the first. So they're thinking that they're the problem, right? And reminding them that they're not the problem. Every single diet they just tried was the same thing in a different disguise. And so reminding them that the diets failed them, they didn't fail the diets. That's a big mindset piece. And also just giving them, like I said, allowing them to mess up, because nobody's perfect. And a lot of times I think that's helpful through sharing my own mess ups. I'll hop on a call once a week with our clients and be like, hey guys, I messed up big. I went out and I ate everything, or I didn't eat anything today. And either way, I feel like shit about it. But you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to get back on. And that gives them permission to know oh, all right, well, he's at his goal weight. He has been for the past 9 years. I can probably do that too.
That's been super helpful for me too, dude. I'll hop on live and, admit to my clients hey guys, I just ate a Costco size thing of M&Ms right now. And I feel like shit right now, and I think they like that because they almost look at us as kind of being bulletproof, or man, they can't relate to me because they're so perfect, or, they're in great shape and I'm not even close. So I'm at the bottom of this mountain and I'm staring up and I got so much further to go. But to see that we're far however many years we are in our journey, and to see that those things still happen, I think lets them know that it's okay. And they can kind of like, let their guard down, like, oh, okay, now I'm bought into this for lifelong, because Joe or Alex or Matt are still facing these things. They still happen. They don't just all of a sudden like eliminate out of nowhere. But those guys are examples of that you can still mess up, and then you can still get great results and achieve phenomenal things, which is awesome. And so you talked about like them being their almost like biggest critic in their head mentally. Do you also find, because I find this a lot too, that environment has a lot to do with each individual, whether it's their spouse being supportive or non-supportive, the friends that they hang out, the social events they have access to, those things? Kind of talk about some of those.
Dude, that's huge. I actually wrote a post about that like 2 months ago, and it popped off. Like, it really resonated with a lot of people, and I kind of encouraged them to look inside themselves and who they spend time with. But the core of that was just, hey, you are the sum of the 5 people you're spending time with. And so if you're spending time with 5 fat people that work at McDonald's and don't have a relationship with their children, like, you're probably going to be the next person to do that. But if you hang out with Joe, Alex, Matt, and then you keep 2 of those friends around, 3 of us are more positive than 2. And so you're going to turn into us, right? And so like, I encouraged everybody to use me as one of their 5 people. Like, hey, just message me once in a while. Hey, spend time in my group, read my posts. I'm going to be positive for you. Then those other 4 people, like, analyze them. Can you have the conversation, like, hey, want you in my life, but you're super negative. Can we do something about that? Or if not, like, get rid of them. There's people that I've had to get rid of in my life that I didn't really want to get rid of. Like, they're good people. They just didn't serve me. And so it's nothing about them or against them, but sometimes we have to be selfish. Like, we have to do what's best for us.
Yeah, dude. And it's crazy just how much better you feel when you don't have all this negativity coming at you left and right every day. Like, I've been huge on that same thing. Like, just at least limiting these people that I know bring me down on a regular basis. And it's completely changed my life, because I've become like a huge energy guy. It's like the more I can feel joy and excitement and just enthusiasm, it just raises everything in my life. And I feel like I start attracting a lot better things and a lot better people and a lot better results. And so I love everything about that. But I would just question on that as well, though, is what if these people are your spouse, right? Your kids that are maybe somewhat of the problem, right? That it's kind of difficult and you can't necessarily get rid of them. What is your advice to those clients that have, somebody really close that maybe they're living with that is causing a lot more negativity, or maybe, they're unwilling to make the changes within the house in the way that they're eating?
Yeah. Wow. That's tough. So I'm just going to try and address this like one by one, or if you want me to go general level, let me know. But I mean, if it's your kids are generally a reflection of who they spend the most time with and who brought them up. And so if they're negative, maybe you need to look inside yourself. Like, are you being negative to them? Or if you were in the past, have you changed? And can you start giving this new energy that you have to your kids and like show them the right way? Because this is all about generational health. Right. And health isn't just nutrition and exercise. It's like mood, outlook on shit. That's huge. If it's your wife, I don't know if you guys are going to like what I have to say or not, but like, if your partner sucks and they're not serving you and they're not serving your kid, like, hey, maybe there's a better option. I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for.
Yeah. Rethink it, right? Give it some thought. Yeah. No, absolutely. You got to dive deep on that one. And I think each case is different and like each scenario is like nuanced, but that's a big one. I think some people are just so much in their routine of how they've done things or been with the person for so long that it's any little fraction of deviation from the current circumstance or the way that it's been is like, oh, it's scary, or, oh, it's uncomfortable, which might even be the exact reason you should actually entertain that or lean into it. And again, there's going to be a lot of people that don't agree with that, but if you want to change, there has to be some sacrifices made, right? So
for sure,
Joe, Joe, you're obviously in shape, man. You practice what you preach. There's some people in the field that don't. Is there something that you do specifically on a daily basis from a mindset perspective? Is there a routine that you kind of follow on a daily basis? Like what's your morning look like? Do you have a morning routine? Kind of what's a day look like in Joe from a health and fitness standpoint?
Yeah. So my morning routine, I love this. Best routine in the world. So I have a dawn simulator. Do you guys know what that is?
A what?
A dawn simulator?
No.
So it's an alarm clock, and it just simulates dawn. So morning time when the sun rises. Instead of getting woken up with sound, it goes from a pitch black room to a little bit of light to a little more to a little more. It's like the sun rising. So you just naturally wake up, and you're not groggy when you wake up. So I like that thing. But as soon as I get up, I'm out of bed, I make a smoothie. So there's oats, banana, peanut butter, everything I can stuff in it because I can't meet my calorie goals. And then from there, I just get to work for like the next hour and a half. I'll do what I have to do, check in with clients, write a post, do whatever it is. By that time, Kayla and the puppy are usually stirring and up, so we'll get ready for the gym. We work out 4 days a week. We golf the other 3. And that's it. Like I said, I was amped about this because I really don't have like this crazy morning routine. It's like use the alarm clock that works best for me and get my ass in gear.
Does that dawn simulator allow you to get up at any time? Like, does it simulate, like, will it just get to really bright by that time you got to get up, or is it legitimately following the light outside?
Oh, good question. Yeah, no, you can set it to whatever you want.
That's super cool. That's super cool. I think I want to say, did Matt Fraser use something like that too? I want to say he used something
Totally
when he was training. Like, yeah, I want to say, I thought you said dog simulator. I was like, what the hell is a dog simulator?
Too. And then you have a barking alarm.
It goes from like a growl to like a bark.
Yeah. Awesome. No, it's cool, man. It's awesome to hear kind of the evolution of the people that you brought on and how you narrowed down who you actually resonate and work with. I know this was a mistake of mine when I first started my business. I was passionate about helping everybody, and I would bring on any and everybody. And then I started almost losing myself in the process because I found the people that I really resonated with, and then people that I personally were like, man, I can help them, but I can't like bridge the gap with them as much as I do with other people, or maybe they weren't quite bought into my process. Have you gone through that experience at all in your business as far as like trying to help everybody, I guess?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, when I first started, I was running those group challenges, and I would just take on anybody that wanted to give me $1, right? Because number one, I had to pay the bills. Number two, I thought I could help everybody. And not only did I enjoy helping certain people, but like there's certain people I just can't help. I don't have the education, whether it be nutrition, exercise, or mindset. And like they need somebody else. And so I absolutely have that. And at this point, like when I say I work with ladies over 40, 99% of the people match that sentence. But there are the 1% that'll still read my posts or watch my videos or listen to this podcast. And they're like, not really over 40. And I'm a dude, but I like what this Joe guy has to say. Like, I wonder if he'd work with me. And if we resonate, I'm still going to help. You know, I'm sure you guys are the same way.
No, for sure. And that's, do you find though with like those, I know I've run into this, like, do you find that with those women over 40, there's sometimes when you get the perimenopause and the menopause into the mix, like that you run into some other struggles there, and how do you address that and help them with that?
Yeah. So in the beginning, when I really started to like focus on these ladies, I couldn't do much. Like I did all the research I could. I have a decent education about it, but it could certainly be better. And so at this point, like I'm at the point where I can hire for my weaknesses. And so I have a registered dietitian on the team. We also just brought on Coach Carissa, who's a genius when it comes to menopause. And so they're filling in gaps that I don't have. And like, that's kind of the focus now. Is like, all right, what do I lack? What does Kate lack? What does Carissa lack? Who's the next person we need to bring on to complete that circle and just give our clients what they need in every freaking direction?
Joe, what are some of the things you're doing in addition to like, you know, posting on Instagram and social media and stuff like that? But how do people create, or do you create the awareness around what it is that you do, the kind of results that you get? I'm assuming you have a Facebook group. Do you run challenges in there? Like, how do you expose people to what it is that you do?
Yeah, good question. So, I mean, at the beginning of this year, so I joined Boardroom. That's how I met you, Matt. I made it a goal of like, hey, I'm going to post every day in my Facebook group and on my personal Facebook. I'm really not that active on Instagram. It's kind of like my personal thing. I just post stories and shit like that. But really, it's just having as many conversations as possible, posting as much valuable content as I can, and encouraging people like, hey, if you just read this post and now you can apply it and you're better because of it, go and invite 5 more friends that can do the same thing. Because the mission here is to help as many of you as possible, not to make money, right? That's going to be a side effect of just being helpful. So I think that's been huge. And then also, I lost what I was going to say. Also, we ran a scholarship once. And so what that looked like is like, hey, I want you all to apply for this. Tell me why you deserve coaching. And that was tough. I mean, every single person deserves coaching. It's not like anybody that applied didn't deserve it. But there's a few that really stuck out. And then the winner ended up being a current client's aunt. And I knew a little bit about her, so we picked her, and she's thriving now. Oh, what I was going to say. I jump on free calls with people. I don't know if you guys do that, but like I said, the goal is to help, not make money. And so I was on 3 calls this week where I don't think I'm ever going to talk to them again, because I gave them everything they need. And they're like, okay, cool, got it. And I think they're just going to go apply it and reach their goal. And so that's helpful, because even if I help someone, they're like, damn, Christine, how'd you reach your goal? She's like, oh, this guy on the internet helped me for free. You should talk to him.
That's amazing, dude. I love that you do that. And that's, I think, something that I could definitely do more of myself. Do you find that you've always kind of been that way? Like where, since you started coaching, like really just sole focus on helping? And I say this because I've had times in my journey where it's like, I find that it's more focused on like the money or the results or all that stuff. And I'm in that shift where I'm like trying to just put all of my intention into just helping and serving people out there and making the biggest impact. But it wasn't always that way. So was it always that way for you? Or is there like kind of a shift that you made through your journey to really making that sole focus of helping others?
Yeah, it's definitely been a shift. I was talking with my friend, Jackie. She has a big gym out in Chicago about this earlier this week. And like, it's a big shift. It used to be, honestly, I don't know if people are going to like this or not, but a lot of it used to be about the money, right? It was like, hey, number one, I just quit working in surgery. I got to pay for my house somehow. So like, there's that. But number two, I want to buy myself cool things. Who doesn't? And after that, like after I truly got my first 5 clients to lose 100 pounds or more, and like I would see them around town, or one of their friends would just randomly add me as a friend, like, hey, do I know you? They're like, no, but you helped my friend lose 100 pounds. And now she like got a promotion. She dumped her ex. She has a new husband. Her kid's happy again. Like when I could hear that stuff, that was a massive shift. And eventually when I heard enough of it, I was like, okay, like that fills me up more than being able to comfortably pay my bills. So that's been huge. And then just leaning into it, I think, like I said, those free calls. At first, Alex, I was scared. I was like, really? I should help these people for free? Like I used to charge for this. But it's worth it.
I get asked that a lot too, is like, I think people, because they see marketing so much that when we help them for free, they automatically think there's some sort of catch, right? And I tell them, you probably tell them this too, but I'm super transparent with them. I'm like, look, if you want to know if there is a catch, this is the catch. I'll give you all the information. To your point, Joe, I'll give you every single thing that you need. I'm going to break down. I'll even prescribe. If I were to coach you, I'll prescribe and give you your macronutrients, what I would do before, I'm not going to prescribe a specific workout for them and go into that detail. I have before, but I don't do it for everybody that I talk to. And I'm going to give you all the information. If you were to follow it and you were to actually do it and somehow you didn't need the accountability and you got the results, that's what I want. I want you to come back to me and tell me that you crushed it. If not, if you go through this process and you go, man, this is more difficult than I thought, despite me having the cheat sheet and having the answers here, that's where we can further discuss a coaching opportunity. So I tell them straight up, like, this is what I'm doing. And I tell them my plan. If you need more than what this plan is and you need actual accountability in the process, like that's what I offer coaching for. But dude, my goal is for you to crush it by yourself. That's what I tell them. I'm sure you probably tell them the same thing.
Absolutely. And so 2 thoughts there is like, even like half an hour ago, I offered them that free call and she's like, yeah, we'll see. And so like I shot back a pretty direct response. I was like, hey, I'm giving you 15 to 30 minutes of my time to help you. If you don't want it, I can find better shit to do. Like, this is for you. And she's like, oh, it really is to help you. I was like, yeah. Right. And so like, then she booked it, but people still have their walls up because everybody's always been sold to, you know?
For sure.
And then the other piece is we were talking about reverse dieting right at the beginning. And to the point of just wanting to help people, Matt, I literally just finished an entire book. So it's a book, it's going to be a podcast, a video series, a challenge, a crash course, and anything else I can think of. But it's literally how to reverse diet from start to finish for dummies. And like, I want people to apply it. But to be honest with you, like you said, I don't think everybody's going to. Like, you, me, Alex, we all give the answers, but the answers aren't that easy. Like, it's accountability, it's application in your life. And that's where having a coach comes in. It's not typing in your age, height, weight, and gender in a TDE calculator.
Oh, for sure, dude. And I've struggled so much myself with like a lot of this shit, right? Like where I need the accountability in certain areas of my life. I know Matt and I have talked about like, we're both willing to go get coaches in the different areas that we struggle with. And I think that's gotten me so much farther along in all of those areas because of it. And it's allowed me to become a better coach. So I think it's like, it's huge. And it's not like, you know, we're sitting here from the place of we can apply all this shit easily, right? It's like, even I know, like I've had a nutrition coach at so many different areas of my life because I was like, you know what? I just am struggling to stick with a lot of this shit. I need somebody to tell me what to do so that I don't have to spend all this time trying to focus on it. So I think it's just a really good point. And I love that you created that guide and or the book and the, you know, making it a challenge and all that stuff around reverse dieting, because that is one of the biggest, like, just crazy things that people don't understand within this industry. And I never even knew about it till I got into NCI and started getting certified. I didn't even know it was a fucking thing. A lot of my clients are like, wait, you're telling me to eat more calories? Yeah. If you believe me, if you can buy into this, you're going to see amazing results. But like, I know that it's a lot different than what you've been told in the past. And it's like, I think that's fucking awesome, dude. And what, I guess within that book, if you'd be willing to share, like, what are some of the things outside of calories that you help people with that help with reverse dieting? Because I know that, you know, we talked about building calories up 100, 150 calories a week, you know, but is there anything else that you have within the reverse dieting process that, you know, could help people that maybe they don't understand?
Yeah, for sure. So number one, I built that calculator out on my site. So like they can figure out exactly how much food they need to eat. Because if you don't have a TDE calculator, you're never going to figure out how much to eat. From there, I'm sure you guys can agree, but like a lot of the ladies I work with, if they're eating 1,000 calories, and they need to go up to 2,200. By the time they reach 1,800 calories, they're so full, they don't know how they're going to eat the rest of their 400 calories. And so I've kind of walked them through like, all right, this is how you're going to eat more calories without feeling more full. And so I've overcome that. I'm sure there's more I'm forgetting, but like I had Jason Phillips go through this with me the other day, and he edited the entire book with me. He's like, all right, I would change this. I would add a graphic in here. I've had 2 other coaches that I work with or that I know in boardroom kind of go through this too. So like, there's been a ton of thoughts that didn't come from me where they saw holes missing. Like, hey, Joe, I think these people are going to struggle here. You should add something there, you know?
That's awesome, dude. And then what's your plan with the book? I don't know if it's finished yet or where you're at in the process with it. But when it is available, you know, where can people find that? Where can they get access to it?
Yeah, good question. I have no idea. I haven't got that far yet. So I just built a site for it. I can get you the link for it if you want. Like, I don't know when this comes out, but we can put it in the description. It's literally going to be a free thing. It's not going to cost anybody $1. And I'll just have it probably on my website, on my social medias, and promoting the hell out of it.
I love it, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, for anybody watching, you can go into the description. You can get this awesome reverse dieting guide from Joe. And Joe, before we do like a little just kind of last rapid fire questions for you, get to know you even a little bit more, throw some random shit at you. Would love for you to just kind of tell everybody in our audience just where they can find you, where they can get more from you, connect with you, reach out to you if they have questions or want to get help from you.
Yeah, I love that. So like I said, Instagram's kind of just my fun place, posting workouts, posting food, posting my dog. That's HoyeFit. And then you guys can find me on Facebook at Joe Hoye, Hoye, and then HoyeFit.com if you want to get that free guide, apply for coaching, or just hop on a free call with me.
All right, sweet. And like we said, we'll put that in the description. We're going to put Joe's book in there when it's all said and done and it's finished. So we may have to go in there and update some things, but you guys will definitely have access to that. And so remember how much time this guy's putting into it. He's taking all of his experience and knowledge, trial and error, education, and he's putting into it and he's giving it to you guys. So it's on you to apply it. It's on you to implement it, but it will be there for you. Joe, we're going to go through a couple rapid fire questions here for you, man. So give the people a little bit more knowledge into who Joe is. So first one is, where's Joe? I think you mentioned Kayla. Is that your wife, girlfriend?
Girlfriend, yeah.
Where are you guys going on date night? Where's the go-to date night?
Oh, so like I said, we live in a small town. There's not a lot going on. We'll go to Echo if we want something casual. And then the nice place to go is TJ Buckley's if we are thinking we have more money than we have.
I love it, dude. And what is your workout split throughout the week?
Yeah, so I work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I actually just recently switched from CrossFit, Matt, to powerlifting. I think my body was a little bit broken, so just trying to get stronger. I'm on my first 16-week strength cycle, and it's going well.
I know exactly what that transition's like, dude. I've been doing CrossFit since like 2011. So a long time. That was the first time I got certified in it and super competitive in it. And I made that transition too. So I still love it. I still do it, but I implement it in doses here and there, which I'm sure you're going to too, man. So that's awesome to hear you make that transition and just kind of open up the opportunity to other things. Joe, what's one piece of advice that was the worst piece of advice that you ever got?
For nutrition or what?
Yeah, it could be anything. I mean, it could be with your business. It could be something that you've heard that you were going to distribute over to clients and then you had second thoughts about it. Like, oh man, I'm definitely not going to do that. Or it could have been a personal, from a coach, from, somebody higher up down to you in your personal life, anything.
Cool. All right. So business is to run Facebook ads. That didn't work. And then, for coaching, it is to tell clients to use their BMR to figure out how to decrease calories.
And what's the best advice you've ever gotten? Let's say in nutrition and then in business.
I mean, in business, I take that bamboo advice I gave everybody and I use that myself, right? But instead of that 5-year time horizon, I don't care how long it takes. Like, I'm just not going to stop. And so I think that's for both, really. That's for anything in life. If you don't stop at something, you're not going to fail. What
do the next 5 years look like for Joe in business, in life? And then what do the next 10 years look like?
Oh boy. Wow. Hopefully in 5 years, we have an even better team of ladies coaching ladies. So I'm the only guy in the business right now. We're helping a ton more people in a much bigger way. I should probably have a wife by then, I would assume. And then maybe a condo down south on the beach somewhere.
I love it, dude. Last question for you. What is the thing, outside of business or coaching that you're most passionate about?
Outside of business and coaching?
Yeah, just like anything, outside of that kind of stuff, like just maybe a hobby, just something that you absolutely love, lights you up.
Yeah, so you honestly just nailed like 90% of my life. I like coaching, and in business is like, it's just fun. It's just a fun challenge. So I love that a lot. But outside of that, I would probably just say hiking. Like, I spent 11 months living in Hawaii and fell in love with hiking and nature and just being removed from everything that's stuffed in our face every single day.
Love that, man. Living in paradise for 11 months. Very cool. Can't complain about that. So Joe, thanks for coming on, man. You provided a lot of value. There's a lot of gold nuggets in here. People are going to have to go back, rewind. Joe, we'll be sending you the podcast as well, so you have access to it. You can share it with your audience. Guys, if you guys got value from this, be sure to share it with somebody. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It'll be on iTunes. It'll be on Spotify, YouTube, anywhere that's going to be easiest for you to access like that, and share it. And as always, Alex and I are always available to you guys. If you want to shoot us over an email with your questions, shoot them to us on social media. We love answering your guys' questions specifically, and to be here to help you optimize yourself. Alex?
I got nothing else. I appreciate you, Joe. Thanks for coming on. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Joe.